you.
Skyforge. Well, hey, we're back again, and so soon. This time I don't want to completely die from boredom. That's directed right at you, Cabal 2. This time with Skyforge, a new dungeon crawler that just went in open beta. My first impressions? It's not too bad at all. Skyforge is actually pretty well done. It looks great, and the combat is, well, I mean, it's intriguing at best. By the way, it looks great only if your graphics settings are set to normal or higher. The graphical difference between anything lower than that actually blows my mind. Let's go ahead and give a quick moment of silence for those on this setting, because god damn. Anyway, let's talk about character customization. Now, you can only be a human, and there are only 3 starter classes, or beginner classes. There's the Lightbinder, Cryomancer, and Paladin, so support, DPS, and tank, essentially. There are 10 additional classes split between intermediate and advanced categories. Intermediate classes being the Kinetic, Archer, Slayer, and Necromancer, and the advanced classes being the Gunner, Berserker, Witch, Alchemist, and Monk and Knight. However, choosing your starting class doesn't do much because you can change your class whenever you want. I'll get to that soon. Now, customization is once again great. There's a lot to choose from, and that seems to be a common theme for MMOs now, and I'm loving it. However, it's a different story for your armor. You don't start the game in rags and build up to armor that changes and looks different on equipping it. There are default skins and costumes you can unlock and buy, and in fact, there isn't even armor at all, and that isn't just leading into a joke about the jiggle effects and scantily clad women in the game. There really is just no armor. I mean, you can equip 4 rings and some other amulets, these trophy things, and your weapons, but those are consistent skin style. You know, you won't have flaming swords or some longer than others. They are just locked to look a certain way, which is admittedly disappointing. Now, that's not to say you can't look fucking ballin', but you will share your style with numerous others. Anyway, you start and you can pick from 12 different default characters. You got this machine gun preacher guy and some budget superhero. But you know, none of this boring ass customization shit matters because I want to talk about this. I mean, look at this. Do my eyes deceive me? Or is this to change how I run? Boob sliders? Irrelevant. Forget about them. It's all about these running sliders. And hey, I appreciate it, because do I want to roleplay as a little anime girl or Rhino the Spider-Man villain? I'm glad I can have this option. Alright, now it's time to explain the classes. So you have 3 base classes, as I said before, and there are 13 classes in total if you add up the 10 additional classes. Now you might be asking, well darn, how do you get them? You might also be asking, do I gotta pay because free-to-play MMORPGs suck my ass? No, you don't have to pay. There's no workaround to unlocking these characters other than spending up to just about 3 weeks, and that's if you know what you're doing and have a lot of time to get some of these classes. Now, this is the Ascension Atlas. It's like a big spider web of small nodes connecting to small nodes connecting big nodes together. Now, some of the big nodes may stand out more than others, like the bow, the skull, or the commander star. Those are classes. And to get these classes, you have to do dungeons, complete missions, and get these sparks. There are 5 different sparks, but these 3 of balance, of creation, of destruction are what are used to unlock these nodes to get to the classes. Skyforge limits how much of these and every kind of good currency you can get per week, so like credits and these sparks. They replenish every Wednesday at 5 PM PST, but don't fret just yet, because it seems to me that they give you a whole lot of it, and every replenishment just adds to whatever you still had left over, so thankfully it just builds and you don't lose out because you didn't cap out that week. Does this hold up with the higher prestige you get? I don't know, I haven't gotten that far. I have heard people complain though. From what I've seen, if you don't play excessively, you should be fine. I didn't even claim half my sparks when the next Wednesday came. Of course, you can pay money to not only get more sparks per dungeon, but your currency cap gets refilled faster. If you do manage to run out of sparks, you can still progress your character through other ways, like the order system, which I have no idea what that is, and etc. If you're wondering how to progress after cap, there are a bunch of guides, and even one put out by the devs themselves on their website. At first, you use these 3 spark categories to progress your own individual character, but once you unlock the Ascension Atlas to unlock other characters and other upgrades, your character progression switches to using class sparks. You can obtain class sparks through looting and an assortment of other ways. Now, if you run out of class sparks, you will start using sparks of evolution, which are the 4th category of sparks, and they are only used to progress your individual class. The final category are sparks of transgression, which are used to reset your talent loadout, and when you finally reach the class you desire to unlock, sparks of transgression are needed to unlock them. This will run you ranging from 300 to 600 sparks of transgression, and they don't seem very easy to acquire. But don't worry, again, they quite quickly give you a few hundred of these sparks, enough to unlock a new class that is close to you, like the Archer, Necromancer, Berserker, or Kinetic. Unlocking a further class like the Witch, Gunner, or Alchemist, for example, is something you'll still have to save up for. I enjoy having to build up to unlock these classes. It's similar to getting really good armor in other games, but it changes your gameplay experience from then on. You can also have rotations, so say I ran Paladin, Kinetic, and Gunner or something as my mains. I've got Tank, Burst, and DPS. It's a fun gameplay style. Oh, and a really important side note, you stay the same prestige when you change your class, except for maybe losing maybe a few hundred prestige at most because you don't have all the things you unlocked with your other character, like traits, individual upgrades, and equipment. But if you do change your class, you will be able to progress just like before. For example, no tank, or you want another specific class for this boss fight? Well, it's no problem, someone can reroll in 2 seconds. I've played many dungeons in SWTOR and countless other MMOs where friends have to re-roll their specs and talent trees or change characters altogether to beat a dungeon. This grinds the gameplay to a halt, and if they were trying to level, then they just lost that XP. It's good to level other classes alongside yours because the day that comes, you won't have any talents for that class if you weren't co-leveling. I also haven't said anything about leveling because Skyforge doesn't really have leveling. You have prestige. Okay, so to explain this, I gotta talk about the story. So in the story, you're an immortal, or a god, and the more you do, from quests to getting better rings and weapons, unlocking nodes on the Atlas and things like that, increases how many mortals believe in you. The more mortals that believe in you, the more prestige you have, the stronger you get. Skyforge took a risk trying something new, and I kinda like it, although I wish that because they created this type of leveling, they would have added more fun and less brain-dead grinding. But, well, alright, we're done with all that. Let's talk about some questing. Still just as boring as ever. I mean, this is really boring stuff we're talking about here. I mean, the combat is cool for a bit, but the animations don't change, and it's only complicated and needing a watchful eye during some of these dungeon boss fights. And they do get pretty difficult, especially if your other group mates don't know what to do. There are patterns and styles added to the way the bosses fight in this game, so teammates have to work together. But dungeons are reused, and that's bothering, but they are leagues better than the regions, which are the open world area parts of the game. I dread the moment I see I have to go to a region for a quest, because I know I'm going to do every side quest there because I'm a damn slut for sparks, and it refreshes every single day. But this shit kills me within my fucking soul. And they also take their sweet time giving you a mount, and some of these areas are actually really large. Even when they do give you a mount, it only has a riding time of 3 hours, then no more mount for you. And by riding time, I mean they give you 3 hours of riding the mount. If you aren't riding it, the time doesn't go down, which is good. However, if you buy 10 temporary licenses for a mount, it will turn into a permanent license. Now, that might sound good, but one temporary license for 1 hour is 215,000 credits, and that's just for the one mount that I've seen. Now, if we do some simple calculations, if you can. That comes out to 2,150,000 credits. Now, I'm prestige of 1800 as I'm writing this specific part of this video, and I have around 130,000 credits. Now, credits are obviously used to buy things, but they're also used to upgrade your weapons and rings. And I haven't even done that much, so technically I've been saving credits and I only have this much. You get a cap of a few 100,000 credits per week, so that's still a few weeks before you can even muster up the cash. And that's if you're not spending it on anything. You know, or you could just buy 10 licenses with in-game currency. You can buy an Argent pack or Argent pack, I don't know how it's pronounced, from the marketplace, and you'll get a 60% permanent mount. To be fair, the lowest pack is like $5, so it's pretty cheap. But is it necessary to make the permanent license so much for people who don't pay? I mean, this is what happens with free-to-play games, so it has to happen. I'm not too frustrated about it because it's a cheap real-life price, and they throw it in just because you bought something, so I'm not going to lose sleep over it, but I'm also not going to buy it. It's that numlock alt-tab life for me. But look, if it makes you feel better, the game is really well done, so it's not too bad to spend money on. I mean, it's a game they put a lot of work into, and a lot of thought and a lot of passion. The concept is very interesting. The cutscenes are just simply fantastic, especially for a free-to-play game. I mean, I just came from Cabal 2's horribly jarring and abrupt cutscenes to these super polished and well-animated ones. Now, before I end this, also, I guess I have to talk about PvP. I mean, it's one map and it's one game mode. It's free-for-all. I assume we all know how free-for-all works. That's all they have for PvP that I've seen at my level, so. I haven't discovered a whole lot about the game, and I'll continue playing to discover what else it has in store. But for what I've played, I recommend playing Skyforge. It might get boring for you quick, like some players I met. You might love it and pay for premium like others. Either way, it's free. If I get to a high enough prestige, because there is no max prestige, that's when I will have my fully detailed analysis and review of Skyforge, if I'm even still playing it. Until then, or whatever my next video is going to be, thanks for watching.
So find me at the rainbow's end, and we climb right up to the top again, jumping on a Tuesday.